Tell me what the hell are you scared of when in the end the only thing
Where's the love?
saying
Right here on
love's
this
never
podcast.
failed.
Welcome to Love Drops, where your hosts and One Love ambassadors, Charles and Diane, will share love, hope, and inspirational topics taken from their journey and world events. We will also include on location recordings and special pop up guests from cool places all around the world. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Whether big or small, love never fails. Oh, love it conquers all. Love never fails.
So, welcome to another episode of Love Drops Podcast. I am so excited to have this guest join us again. It is so wonderful when we get to continue the conversation and have a repeat guest. And that is what we have today. We are going to be speaking about the bigger picture and that we'll see where that takes us. So without further ado, Charles.
Yes, we have a special guest. Yurii is going to be with us today, and we're going to talk about that. Without further ado, I turn the mic over to you, Yurii, and welcome.
Yay. Yay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Diane and Charles. And I love this continuation of the conversation because I feel like, how in life you really never have the end of the conversation. Like you might have a beginning of the conversation, but it's going and going and going. And even though it's like a second time we are talking here on the podcast, it doesn't feel like will stop the conversation. We just had this conversation going and we just continue on this conversation. So yeah, for those who didn't hear our previous conversation, so my name is Yurii. I'm a community builder. I'm helping people to connect with each other. And I'm working with mostly startups and fast-growing companies, but also like what I really love doing for myself is like hosting podcasts, very similar to this one, but community life, it's for talking with with community builders about their human life journey. Recently, the fun thing that we recently started another podcast called Not Psychologist Talks, where I, with my co-host Jason, we are community builders and we talk with people about their traumas. And we are not psychologists. And we'd say like, hey, sorry, we are not psychologists. We're just here to listen to you. If you have a story, go share it. But we won't judge for sure, and we won't help you. So we can help you only by listening. If you really need help, please go and get some help. And recently, I also started one more podcast, but it's more like a professional one, a community ROI, because if you are building community around the business organization, you really have to drive results. So it's good to be kind and help people, but like every team and business have to bring some value. So, and there are a lot of examples of how to do it and how to do it correctly, like not in a way that you are using people, but in a way that you are really helping people and helping your people in your team are also people and you're also helping them. And talking to the point of today's conversation, so the more I talk to people, the more I am amazed of how those connections go in, like every time that I reach some kind of milestone. So on May of this year, we hosted first conference ever in Berlin for freelancers. It was like 600 people. We've never done this before. And like, it was our first experience and it was like such a huge blast. And I'm thinking like, how did it start? Like, when was the first conversation? Who was involved in this? And I see that, like it's all happening somehow. It's all interconnected. It's fun. When I was growing up, I was told that keep your mouth shut because if you will share your ideas and your thoughts with someone, they can steal it and they can have, I don't know how you say it in English, like a bad eye, and they can, do something that you won't achieve your goals, that you want to achieve your result. But then I learned that the more you talk to people, the better, because you kind of like send in the signal into the universe to others. And if you are doing good things, if you are really helpful to others, and if you are a good person, most likely people would like to help you. So it's really not a way to keep your secrets with you, like, and as they say in this, like in the business world, idea doesn't cost anything. So it's all about realization. And
Yes.
people are exactly who helps you to deal with this. So I'll better shut up and because I can talk forever. You better stop me.
Oh, Yuri, we love listening to you. And so, just for our listeners who are not familiar, where are you from? Where are you at? Where are you located? Where are you in the world, Yuri?
Yeah, I'm currently in Europe. It's like I'm originally from Ukraine, and the war going on. It's still going on, and I feel like the world already is a little tired, and there are some additional wars going on in the world. But yeah, it's still happening. So it's also part of my kind of like worldwide, I would say, mission to not really fight with each other,
Mm-hmm.
but I understood that it's so much better to do things together. And
Yes.
no matter what problems, no matter what questions, challenges you have, you can solve them together. And you can solve them just by talking, just by understanding each other, not by fighting. So I still have no understanding what the hell is happening. And
I don't think many people do, Yuri. I think that that's part of the whole crisis, chaos, world climate is that so many people don't know what's happening because everybody is standing on their platform. Everybody is standing on their importance, right? And so, again, what we're talking about is the bigger picture, right? So, as I was thinking about this conversation, Charles and I had a little talk, a pre podcast talk. And in that talk, I said to him the quote that goes, "We are all just a drop in the vast ocean. We're all just a drop," right? So when you think about that, when you picture that in your mind, regardless of what your platform is, regardless of how important you think you are, regardless of all the things that you have, in the bigger scheme of things, you're still just a drop. You're still just a drop.
And if that drop is a drop of love, just look at the rippling effects that it takes on. And it continues to grow and grow as those love drops continue to drop and spread.
And and what you were saying about what do? We change the narrative. So like you're making connections between people. You're making human connections. We're making human connections. What we stand on in this climate, what we attribute to the bigger picture from our two little drops is just love. Love drops, right? And so we are out here changing the narrative one love drop at a time, not by what we are saying, not by forcing our love on anyone, but just living love and attracting love and passing it on, going into places and raising vibrations, right? Instead of just talking about how bad it is and what's wrong with it, let's be what's right. Let's make a impact. Let's make a rippling impact.
It's interesting because when I talk to people, sometimes I hear that, oh, like, what can I do? I'm just a small drop in this huge ocean. Like, it doesn't matter. No matter what I do, nobody will listen to me, etc., etc. And I'm like, yeah, I understand. I totally get you. So you just don't want to do anything because it's like stepping out of your comfort zone. And it's definitely stepping out, like speaking up is stepping out of your comfort zone. Meeting a new person, it's like totally stepping out of your comfort zone. And but the fun thing that the more you're doing this steps out of it, the bigger your comfort zone. And at some point, your comfort zone is so huge that you can do anything. And like I recently, like I'm a huge fan of Eminem. And like he's bringing so much drops in the world, and like he's just one person. Or Taylor Swift, she's just one person. Like, how it isn't possible? There are people who, talk really good things, etc. Nobody listen to them. And this one person brings thousands of hundreds of people and millions together. Like, how is it possible? So if someone else will tell me like, I'm just one person, I can do anything, I'm like, okay, yeah, I get you.
Right.
So
Right. Yeah, it's like, but that's a choice. That's a choice. I choose to say that in the scheme of things, what I'm doing doesn't really matter anyway. So why bother? That's that like why bother mentality, which I feel is strong but shifting. It is definitely shifting because people are doing things. They're using their voices, they're using their platforms, whether a platform has 100 people or 100 million people, they're using the platforms. And so what I always say is maybe I cannot buy you a house right now, but I can buy you a sandwich. Maybe I can't buy you a car right now, but I can help you get a bus pass. I can give you, credit on an Uber, to help you, do transportation. What can I do with what I have right now? And you best believe I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it because that gives me peace at night. That makes me feel like, hey, I am contributing to the bigger picture. So when I hear people complaining, I don't subscribe or even get all involved in that. I just use it to fuel what can I do to do better? How do I be better? How do I illustrate love in that, Charles?
And every part of this takes on a part of a bigger picture. And it starts with you, just extending a little love, a pleasant word, a smile, a friendly greeting, our selective choice of words to spread love. And it continues and it continues. And that's all part of the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And I would also add the very crucial thing that I've noticed is expectations. Because if you, no matter what you do, like no matter if it's like a huge step or a small step, but if you do it like this for that, and you're like, oh, I'm giving you a sandwich, what will you give me?
Ah,
So yeah, it doesn't work that way because like people can feel it. And it's not like you are trying to help, you're trying to please your ego or do something for yourself. Kind of like, yes, I'm helping people. Look at me, I'm this amazing person. I gave them a sandwich. Oh my God, yeah, I'm amazing. Like, give me some praise. But no, it doesn't work that way. So if you're just, some people can, I don't know, give millions of dollars to others and then like they're silent about it. And some
yes.
people can give $1 and like scream it on every corner. I gave them $1. Yeah, look at me. Ooh. So it's all about, also working with your expectations and help people without expecting anything in return. Just to do it because you can.
Yes, that is such a great point. And we talk about that all the time. It's like, what is the motivation? So even with what we're doing, you talked about it earlier, the project that we're on, we are attracting investors. We're not chasing, we're not pitching, we're attracting it because the motivation has to be right. It's like be excited with the right motivation. So if our platform is love, then I mean, you're coming in with love. And we're not telling you how to love. Love looks like love looks on everybody. It's going to look different. But here's the thing, love is love, right? So you say, yeah, I'm doing it in love, but I'm mean. I'm doing it in love, but I'm boastful. I'm doing it in love, but I'm very prideful. I'm doing it in love with expectations. So we're going to go do this for this group, and this is what we expect to get back from it. It's like, oh no, everything that we are doing, everything that we are living is so much bigger than us. And that's a part of the bigger picture because right, what you're doing and your whole motivation is just about you, it's not big enough because remember, you're one drop. You're one drop in a vast ocean. One drop.
And as you continue with those drops, eliminating any expectations, you can continue to go forward. When you're expecting some expectation, you're stopped. You're waiting. You didn't receive. So now you're non-productive. Just continue moving forward with no expectations whatsoever. That continues to help your forward momentum.
And it's not easy. I mean, we're all sitting here saying, yeah, you don't want to have expectations. But I mean, let's keep it real. We are human beings, right?
Yeah.
And so even like with your amazing conference that you just had in Berlin, right? And that started with a conversation that started small, but the bigger picture was the actual manifestation of the conference, which was amazing from what you've spoken about, right? But you can't say that there wasn't an expectation for it to be successful, because you did. You want to be successful, so you can't say, well, I was cool. If just one person showed, or, if just, nobody showed, I'd be cool with that. It would be a lesson, right? But it would be disappointing. It would be disappointing. So even though me personally, I don't try to put expectation, I don't do it. I don't do it tit for tat. But sometimes it can be disappointing, right? Sometimes it can be disappointing when you just put so much into it, and it's just like the support doesn't match. Support doesn't match, the level, just the level of the frequency. You go in there high level, high vibration, and then, you may get a beep.
I feel like it's also kind of like miscalculation, I would say. If we're talking about the conference, so we definitely planned. So we have this venue, we had the sponsors, so we have this plan of participants. We do marketing, we do stuff, we ensure that people are signing up, they purchasing tickets. So it's more like a plan, and we are going to our plan. So I would say expectations, it's like people talking nice things, like I have this feedback from a person who got their ticket and didn't go to the conference. So because plans changed, they had to stay with the family, etc. And it was a feedback. It was the best conference I didn't attend. So the person didn't attend, and it still was the best conference because of the experience they've had in the community, because of the experience, because of like they listened to other people, because they received recordings of afterward of speeches. So, but it's kind of like a plan. So I couldn't say that I was expect to receive this feedback. I've done this just because I really genuinely wanted to connect people. I wanted to make it happen, etc. So, and this feedback, it's like exactly, it was not expected for sure.
So kind of like icing on the cake or cherry on the top.
Yeah, totally. So when you're given at least 80% of you, not all of you, maybe it's better for sure to give all of you, but at least 80%. It's so much better than 50%, and it's so much better than 0%.
Yeah.
But the moment you expect something in return, you like creating this minus value. So it's like goes to
Yes.
minus 50%.
Yes.
And it's so much harder to really get something out of it, because the person can say thank you, and if you have no expectations, it would be amazing for you. Oh my God, they told me thank you. Oh, it's warm in my heart. But if you expect them to say like thank you very much, and they just told you thank you, like, oh, so you are not really love it. So it's not very much. It's just thank you. Okay.
That's a good point. That is so good. And that's a lesson that I can honestly say that I've learned going through the journey, because I'm there with what we're talking about, but I've not always been there. And it's not so much a tit for tat, but it is that I give greatness, so then I have an expectation for greatness. Like I give fully, so I have an expectation for people to fully give, or to stay with your word, and just different things like that. And over the course of the last few years, I have learned to just surrender and let it go and just find grace in it. It doesn't, you don't even have to have a reason. It's just that if you said you're going to do something and you don't do it, then I have to just be okay with, okay, so, okay, that didn't happen. It wasn't meant to be, or whatever, not even trying to read anything into it. But that is a process that I had to work myself up into. Now I can just give and walk away, right? Just do. And even if you don't say thank you, because that used to bother the heck out of me, because I was raised that you say please and thank you, right? Everybody wasn't raised the same. So, I mean, no judgment there. But still, if I do something, especially if I do something that's a little stretch, and it's like, you didn't say thank you. Well, how dare you? I mean, like, rude, right? And then I'm just I got an attitude. But what I saw is just what you said, Yurii. It devalues the gift, right? It devalues it, because as high as it was, or as good as it was, all the love that was in it, to then take and put that negativity, to have an attitude about it and just feel like rude. Now you've taken away from that frequency. So now I know that people are going to be who they are, and just know your motivation, know your reason, know your why, because that's all we're responsible for. All I can do is expect the best from me.
And that's all a part of the bigger picture. We learn, we develop, we establish these platforms to build on and continue moving on. But it's all a part of the process as folks enter our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. We don't know how long that is going to be, but we continue to move forward, spread love, and remind ourselves we are all a part of the bigger picture, and we continue to move forward with that.
And talking about the bigger picture, so sometimes it's all connected to expectations, but people wait to receive a super fast return on their, let's say, investment of time. And if they've done something, then like, oh, I need to receive an answer like today, tomorrow, in 1 week, in 1 month. But sometimes you just, plant seeds and you can see some results in 5 years, in 10 years. You might even forget that you've planted some seeds, and then they will come back to you. And I've been like, I don't know how many situations, how many surprises happened just because at some point I've done something good for someone without any expectations, without thinking like, oh, what will I get in return? And it builds up. So the more you are doing, the more you're spreading love, the more you're sharing, doing good stuff for people, the more you build a circle of people around you, and the more they feel it. And you kind of like, like a magnet. You get the people with, definitely, if we are going to physics, magnet works differently, plus and minus. They are not like minus and minus, like magnets with the same polars are not connected. They are like going away from each other. But still, you kind of like, you attract people with the same energy, So if you're spreading bad energy, if you're like, I'm not saying a bad person, but if you act out of desperation, or if you are like have some jealousy and you like all these kind of bad traits, if you expect a lot, so you will attract the same people to yourself. But if you do everything just because you are just shining on others, like you are just like you just let it shine, let your personality shine, and people will see it, they will feel it, they will shine to you back. And that's how it works for me personally, at least.
I think it works like that for everybody, Yurii. I think that what you put out, you absolutely get back. And so therefore, when you have someone and they're like, oh my God, I don't understand. every time I go into a room, just negativity. In my job, I left that job and I went to this job, and the same thing. All these negative people, toxic, toxic, toxic. Oh my God. So then I moved, and it's toxic, toxic, toxic. At some point, you got to look in the mirror, because if you're the only one having that experience and it's following you everywhere you go, then that is a good sign to have an energy check, because you're the problem. I don't know how else to say that.
That's how it is. Yeah.
When you're aware of doing good, doing the best that you can, it may not come back in the same vein that you sent it out, but it'll come back in another vein. But it will come back, good or bad. So, like when we're meeting people, who knew that we were going to meet Yurii?
Exactly.
Yeah. But good things come, and good people attract to good people.
Yeah. I mean, where you are and where I'm at, there's no like physically that we would like bump into each other at the store, or, see each other at the movie theater or whatever. It's that energy that attract, and it's like you said, good, good, good. So when we even look at the degrees of separation between you and I, just shooting out people, like shooting out Sadik, shooting out Familia, right? Other people we have in common. These are all lights. So then what that says is, obviously we have our light turned on if we're attracting all of these lights, if we got all of these lights around us. Doesn't mean that we won't have some dark spots. It doesn't mean that. But what it means is, in the scheme of things, if you're in that dark spot, then you turn up your light. It's not that you turn off your light. So I'm in a dark spot, I'm going to go ahead and turn my light out. So, in the scheme of things, I can fit in. And I think that leads me to this. What are you going to do with your drop? If in the scheme of things, we're all just a drop in a vast ocean, what are you going to do? What are you doing with your drop? What are you doing?
I would say that it's always about a choice. And even doing nothing, it's also a choice. Because when I was growing up, I was thinking like that you can choose to do something. But now I understand that if you are not doing something, you also choose not to do something. So it's like it's always your choice. And every choice in your life impacts your life journey. So I won't even be talking about the people around you, but I will talk about like a person. So every decision, like every yes and every no you take daily, it impacts on who you are. And if you are doing like these small things daily, at some point you will be like, oh my God, why do I have so many great people around me? Most likely because you are a great person yourself. And if you are like choosing like no all the time, and you're always complaining, and you're like, oh my God, there are so bad people around me, maybe it's not a coincidence. Maybe it's like how it was meant to be. So for me personally, now I learned to be very mindful with my time, because it's limited time. And I remember this movie In Time with Justin Timberlake, and it was like, I don't know, 2005 or somewhere back then. And they had no money, but they had just times of their life, and they just paid with the time for everything. And some people were living like hundreds of years, like billionaires, millionaires, because nowadays they can't. Maybe they can, I don't know. But at least I was like, exactly, even if you are not paying for something with money, you're paying with the time of your life. So I'm trying to be super mindful in that. And I'm not connecting, and I'm not trying to help everyone.
Yes.
But I'm trying to, like, if I feel something, I want to help. If I see some kind of connection, or if I see that people struggle, and if I feel their energy, if I understand that, oh, I can do something for them, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
But if I also try to be very, very mindful in this way that if I see, for example, that helping someone will take the whole day of my life, and I don't know if I will be do this, only if it's like
Yes.
a matter of life or death.
Yeah.
Yes, but saving like a person, I can do this. But if
Yeah.
just like I will think, okay, so I can help this person with a day of my life, or I can go spend some time with my family. Most likely I will choose my family. So
Yeah.
and it's okay. And it's okay. But
Yes.
if I see this, okay, I can spend like 30 minutes, 1 hour, and really help this person just because maybe I have a little bit of knowledge about something that they need, or maybe I have a little bit of connections, I will do this. It's not a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So it's also about a choice that you make, like whether you are ready to spend the time in your life.
Yes.
And it's also okay, no matter how much time to spend. You may spend whole your life helping people, or you
Yeah.
might spend just 1 minute a day helping people. You are still helping people. And it's very
Absolutely.
crucial to remember.
Yeah, yes. And as you were sharing that with us, a thought occurred to me that we all have 1,440 minutes a day. How you spend it, you have a choice. Back to what you were saying earlier. You have a choice. Do I give this person 1 minute, 40 minutes, an hour, but it's still coming out of your 1,440 minutes a day. So it depends on your choices of where you spend your time.
Absolutely. And what I always say is time is non-refundable. So whatever time I give you, I can't get that time back. That is gone. That time is gone. And I wanted to circle back to what you were saying about your family, because as we are coming to the curve bend end of the podcast, I want to make it inclusive, right? Of the importance that family plays in the bigger picture. We have so many people out here now developing communities, making connections, bringing the light, just out there in the world, bling, bling, shining. And at home, it is dark as a cave. It's just like you're out there with the shine, and then you go in the house and it's dark. Your kids don't even feel that connection with you. Your spouse don't even feel that connection with you. And so in the bigger picture, right? When you have your drop, it is so important that you start at home, that you start with your family, that you start, that's a priority, right? And it looks differently on everybody. So when I say that, I'm not saying, well, you should be like this with your mom and dad, and you should be, I'm not saying what you should be, but what I am saying is the people that are closest to you should be a priority. And even if they're getting 10 minutes a day, they should have that 10 minutes where they have you unobstructed. You're not looking at your phone, you're not typing and talking, you're not multitasking, but they have you for that 10 minutes a day.
And I would add that I think that sometimes people are forgetting about their families, and they think that it's kind of granted. Like we have to kind of like win the attention of others. But here home, yeah, I already won. Like, why should I care? But it doesn't work that way. You can lose it. So
Yes.
to be honest, when we are ill or when we are not at our best, like who are with us,
Right.
our family,
Yeah.
like, and I see so many examples when people like go in some, like they are going through some troubles with some health or mental health or whatever, and nobody knows about that. So
Right.
all their audiences, all the people they have conversations, they don't even know about that.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows
Mm-hmm.
about that? Your closest people. Who struggles
Exactly.
with that? Your closest people. So you definitely have to like kind of like serve them first, and then go and spread your light wherever you like. But yeah, exactly. Shine your best at home first, and then everything is follows.
And that is definitely a big part of the picture, because your people at home, your family, those are the ones that are going to stand with you. When the audience is shut down, when the popularity dries up, when there's nobody there with you, then those are the people that are going to be, and those are the people who know you best, right? Those are the people that see you when that light is flickering, that light is you that flickering. And those are the people that come and give you their light to help your flickering light to recharge, to help you to reset,
Yeah.
So as we are kind of concluding on this episode, I want to thank you so much for all the conversations that we've had between this episode and the last episode. We've had a lot of conversations, so I feel like I know you a lot better. And I think it's safe to, call you a friend. We got plans to meet up in New York. My grandkids are wearing your shirts in California. That's what you do for people you're connected with. That's what you do, with people you consider friends. You support them. They don't have to ask you. The bigger picture is this. If you see people in your circle, right, that are doing things that are making a difference, support them. Support, they shouldn't have to ask you. And support is not always money. Support is share, something that they posted. Just share it. I mean, you'd be surprised on how that just spreads, right? Tell someone, say something to them. Sometimes when me and you are not in contact, I'll jump in and I'll say, hey, Yurii, I see you. How you doing, guy? Just thinking of you. Or you'll just shoot something back. And that's phenomenal, you know?
And you're such a wealth of knowledge. How can our listening audience best get in touch with you? What's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
I would say that the best way to really get in touch is via LinkedIn. I really search and it's just one Yurii Lazaruk. There are no other Yuris, so you won't get it wrong. And I would ask people not to kind of learn from me and not to kind of follow me, but let's talk, because otherwise I won't even know that you exist. Like I don't really care about audience. I care about real human connection. That's exactly how I met you, Diane and Charles, because we are having conversations, we're talking, we're exchanging, where we might not have a goal, to achieve with our conversation, but we are still doing this. And that's exactly what differs human connections from this networking, as they call it in business. So it's totally different. And the moment you start building human connections, even if you want to go on some business endeavors, it's so much easier when you're connected on a human level. So
Yes.
please, 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 let's talk. Don't just learn from me, please. Don't do this.
Well, Yurii, as I say often, everybody's now on LinkedIn. So I know you mentioned your podcast, in the beginning as we start talking. So if you shoot me over those links for the podcast, then I'll put it in a narrative and people can listen in and have conversation, give feedback. And I know that you do like newsletters, you do phenomenal newsletters, very thought-provoking. And you between those two water coolers, dude, I can't. I can't. I can't. But so as we are concluding here, Yurii, in the scheme of the bigger thing, what do you want to leave with our listeners? What's something like, what's your drop? Leave a drop here.
Today I was listening to this song of Beyonce, and she was singing, I just want to leave my footprint, on a sand. And I would say on a sand of life. And if I somehow helped at least one person, it's already a great, great win, a huge win for me. And yeah, please just go help one person. You'll feel so much better already by just doing it. And yes, please do not have any expectations. Just have fun. It's all about fun, and love for sure.
Yes. Oh, wow, that's great. That is great. And so, I mean, hey, that's a wrap. I don't know where you go from there, right? Again, Yurii, thank you for your yes. Thank you for your time. today, you do know that's non-refundable. And, just thank you for your truth. It resonates. It's from the heart. You're still just lit up. I mean, we see you, the audience can, hear you, but I mean, you're shining bright like a diamond up in there. So that, I mean, from day one, I appreciate that. And listeners, just continue to listen, reach out to Yurii and listen to his podcast and, just listen to all the knowledge that he's dropping with his guests. He's not a psychologist, but, if you got some psychology, you want to, drop it, maybe reach out to him and who knows. And subscribe, stay tuned. And until we come back again, we say,
One love.
Never a second will I waste. Never an opportunity to taste the sweetness of this life.
Thank you for tuning in to the Love Drops podcast. Be sure to follow this podcast and share the love with everyone you know. Until next time, this is Charles and Diane signing off. One love. One love.
Love it conquers all. Love never